said the Kings' goal should be to make the playoffs.
And what I mean by that is those players should be looking to do more than make the playoffs.
Okay.
The coaching staff should be looking more. But if
their goal is going to be to win a championship.
Absolutely.
Like that's their goal. That's what they're going to talk about when training camp.
But if we brought Monty McNair in here, and even Vivek, even Uncle V, and said, all right, the cameras are off, the mics are off. So if you guys made the playoffs this year and got bounced in the first round, would you deem that as a failure? They'd be like, for franchise building wise, no. For our goals that year, yes, because we think we should win a championship. That's what we're trying to do. But you're looking at the big picture, building a program, building a franchise. I think that there is a high level importance in going back-to-back years into the playoffs to establish, all right, we're one of those franchises in this league. They're still in the infant stages, the beginning stages of building themselves as a preeminent NBA franchise, current NBA franchise. This is the baby step. Yeah, you go to the playoffs a couple of years, maybe get bounced in the first round. Then you take a leap. Second round, maybe even conference finals. Then you take another, and the whole thing about, timelines and all this other stuff. I don't think anybody looks at the Kings realistically, if we're taking fandom and stuff out of this and saying, yo, Kings didn't make the playoffs for 16 years. They even stunk the year before. It's not even like they were close. They weren't like OKC was this year. They weren't even like that. They stunk. And go from that, make the playoffs in 1 year, and then you better win a championship. Hell, you better be in the conference finals. They'll be like, that's not how the NBA works. NBA work, you go in there, you establish yourself as a playoff team, and then you build upon that. And I think next year is still one of those establish yourself as a playoff team type seasons.
Going back to your fictitious Monty McNair lie detector test or microphone off the record conversation.
We just haven't,
off the record with KC coming soon to a commercial break.
We having cocktails and cigars, man. You know what I'm saying? Just talking.
The Humidor Lounge at Sky River Casino, which is going to open soon.
We're just talking.
I think you're wrong. I don't think Monty would feel that way. I think Monty believes exactly what he said. I don't think that was a work. I think it was. I think that's exact. I think maybe for the first time in the history of a Monty McNair press conference, he gave us a window into his true thoughts and beliefs. Championship teams need to win 50+ games. We need to do better than we did this year. I think he believes that. And if that's the case, you talk about the line of the offseason last year was flexibility. The line of the offseason this year, maintain and improve. Well, if you improve in the regular season, I think he's going to want to improve in the postseason. If you improve, you're a 50-win team. And he almost acknowledged 48 wins next year isn't going to get us the third seed. But let's say they improve in the regular season, get to that 50. Let's say they get to the third seed again. Losing in the first round, I don't think is going to be okay for team building. I think it's or franchise building. I get your point about going to the finals and the championship and all that. Like we can have our discussions. A lot of our discussions about how we feel about the Kings in the West has to do a lot with how we feel about the West. But I think if you present that scenario with the Kings back in the playoffs as a 50+ win team, third seed again, I think you go into that offseason, if you lose in the first round, looking around like, we're missing something. What is it? Because we did the maintain part. We improved a little bit in the regular season, but our goals, we didn't improve upon our goals. So we kept Harrison. We added Sasha. We kept Alex. We obviously we won a couple more games, so Keegan's doing well. What's missing? What do we need to get to the next step? I don't think it's as simple as another year. I think this year you can absolutely get by with what do you need to improve next? What do you need to beat the Golden State Warriors next year? Another year together. One thing no one talks about, and I think it's just because people have this feeling about Harrison Barnes, and I get it. Harrison's not 24. He's 31. But when was the last time Harrison was in that playoff position? Was it the finals? It was 2016.
Yeah.
That was the last time. It didn't go well for him. He had a 8-year gap between playoff appearances. What if Harrison comes out locked in next year? What if Harrison comes out locked into in playoff form next year? I think they're banking on some of those things happening. I don't think another first round loss is just going to sit like, all right, it's cool. I think you're left with a bunch of questions. Now, if you lose in the second round, I think it's different. But if you lose in the first round, I feel like you're going into that offseason with a lot of questions about how you finished in the 3 seed twice and couldn't advance in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, I don't think any of that is like what you're saying isn't wrong. And that's not how, if I was a player, if I was working for that organization, how I would look at it. We lose in the first round, I'm gonna be hot. I'm gonna be hot. Like we failed in a major way for what we trying to establish. What I'm saying is that that's typically not how things go. It's typically not how things go. So to sit up there and act like it's this major failure from the outside looking in is, I don't know if that
major
would be fair.
Failure is not fair. Major failure is missing the playoffs.
I think people will look at losing in the first round as a major failure. I think and that's what I would disagree with.
I disagree with it being a major, but I don't know that I'd find it. I don't know that I'd find it productive. I feel like I'd find it concerning.
I would ask
in the scenario we set, by the way, like if all of the if Domas, if everyone plays at the level that they played this year in terms of games played, there's no major injuries, things like that. That has to be the barometer, though. Things have to play out the same way.
People can probably jog my memory of team. I'm not saying that there aren't examples. Just jog my memory. Name the teams in the last 20, 25 years that have kind of built this thing organically, almost like with a draft pick, maybe a sneaky trade here and there, that have gone from first round to Western Conference Finals. So most of them don't even go first round to second round the next year. It usually is like maybe 2 first round losses, and then they sit back and they ask themselves, what are we missing here? What's going to get us over?
Did the Warriors make it in 13?
They made it in the second round their first year. The next year they lost in the first round.
That was 13? So they lost in 13 and 14?
Their first time they got to the second round, which was 13. 14, they lost in the first round to the Clippers, and then they went on to win it in the 15. Even our beloved greatest show on court, they lost 2 years in the first round. They were actually an 8th seed that second year again. So
does the 3 seed factor into this at all?
Not as much to me. I don't look at. To me, I don't look at like you're the if they could be the 4 seed or even the 5 seed next year and be a stronger team.
Well, you're right. That's my fault. How does the 48 wins factor in?
I agree. I want them to win more than 48 games. I think they should win more than 48 games next year.